Daniel is speaking about what is about to happen in Hanukkah. When did Hanukkah take place? Old Testament, New Testament? Who says old? Lift up your hands. Who says new? Who says neither? In between. You're half and half. The in-betweens are right. Usually they're not right. Usually you have to be hot or cold. But in this way, you're right. Hanukkah did not take place in the Old Testament or the New Testament. It took place in the middle. Therefore, there's nothing in the Bible about it except in the Apocrypha, in the writings of the Maccabees, which is historical. And that's what I'm going to show you something from there. But the New Testament, the only place where Hanukkah is celebrated is in the New Testament. Tell your friends that. The only place, tell your Jewish friends, only place Hanukkah is celebrated is in the New Testament, in John 10. The only place where Hanukkah is prophesied of in the Old Testament, Daniel. In the book of Daniel, it speaks about Hanukkah, what's going to happen. And the guy who comes to Jerusalem and he desecrates the temple. But Daniel also speaks about the end times and the Antichrist. So therefore, it's very clear that what happened in Hanukkah is a foreshadow of what's going to happen in the end times. What happens, there is a foreshadow of everything. There's a foreshadow of the Antichrist in the story of Hanukkah. Daniel prophesies both, and sometimes it's hard to tell which he's talking about. Hanukkah holds the mystery. It has the keys to the end times. So since we are in the end times, it is good to know what this holiday, because it has very much to do with us. I'm going to read from the account, and it's historical here, even though it's not part of the Bible. It's not scripture, but it's historical. It's the only thing that, and that's what Jesus was there in Jerusalem, celebrating what happened here, so that you can see this, and we're going to see what is revealed about the end times from Hanukkah. This is from 1 Maccabees, and this is the 10th verse. There sprang from these kings a sinful offshoot. His name was Antiochus Epiphanes. He became king in the year 137 of the kingdom of the Greeks. Antiochus Epiphanes. He rises up after Alexander the Great, and he is a shadow of the one who is going to come in the world. Even it sounds similar. Antiochus, Antichrist, even though it's just an accident. Antiochus was not Jewish. You know, they say, who's the Antichrist going to be? And there's some say, well, he'll be Jewish because of a number of reasons, because the tribe of Dan is not mentioned and all these things, and because it says the God of his fathers, sort of. But most likely, it's very doubtful that he be Jewish. He's making a covenant with the Jewish people, and he is represented as a horn that comes out, which is out of a beast, which is always a symbol of the kingdom, an ungodly pagan kingdom. In the book of Revelation, he is a horn. Daniel 7, it said a horn came out and spoke arrogant things. Well, Antiochus is a symbol of him, a foreshadow. He was a leader of a pagan empire, and he came against Israel. Now, throughout the years, people have tried to come up with who the Antichrist is. You know, they were talking to Henry Kissinger at one point, then Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, of course, because that thing. I mean, why does he have a map of Europe on his head? You know, it's always something. You know, I'm amazed that they've never said Bill Clinton, because I guess they figure, well, he would never make an Antichrist. You know, but it's always been these different things of that. But the Antichrist will be the head of a revived Roman one world state based in Europe. Right now, the nations of Europe are coming together. They're continuously coming together to form one state. Daniel 9:26, it says that the people of the prince who is to come will destroy the temple. Well, the temple was destroyed by the Romans. The people of the prince who is yet to come, that means he is of the Romans. So in some way, it's linked to that European thing. What happened with Antiochus? Well, it says in Maccabees that he invaded Israel. He invaded the land of Israel. We know that the Antichrist will be a man of war. He will invade Israel. Antiochus Epiphanes was a brutal man. And therefore we know that the Antichrist is also going to be a brutal man. He's going to be the most brutal man who ever lived. And so the End times are already giving shadows of the Antichrist. Because in the 20th century, as we near the end of the millennium, we already see a culture of brutality. In this century, more people have been killed by brutality than any other century in the world. More genocides, more dehumanization. Hitler, Stalin, all these foreshadows of Antichrist. A lack of mercy. What does it say about Antiochus in Maccabees? It says he was a deceiver. It says he made deceitful promises. He won their trust. He made a covenant with them, and then he broke it and sought to destroy them. That's just like the Antichrist. It says that he will make a covenant with Israel. Then he will break it. It is also the spirit of the age, because, all these foreshadows of the Antichrist are like him. Hitler, when he first came to power, he spoke about peace all the time. Peace. Because he knew if he didn't, he'd get invaded. He wasn't strong enough yet. So he spoke about peace and peace and peace until he was strong enough to talk about war. Stalin was deceitful. All these dictators are deceitful. The 20th century is the most adept century in the art of deception, whether it's advertisement, politics, or whatever. And one of the reasons is when there's no absolute truth, then there's no lie or truth. It doesn't matter. Truth and appearance, it's nothing. Image is everything, and therefore the Antichrist will use this when he comes. What did Antiochus do? He invaded Israel. It says he spoke deceitfully, and then he broke the covenant that he made with the Jewish people. He broke the covenant, in a sense. And the Antichrist, it says, will break his covenant. But already, before he comes, you see the spirit of him in the world. Because already this age is an age of covenant breaking. Particularly, you want to see the sign of it? Marriage. Marriage is the covenant of all covenants that we have as an earthly covenant. And there's no faithfulness there. The covenant, your word, you give your word and you keep it. There's no distinction. When you don't have truth, then it doesn't matter what your word is. And so this world is known for, this age is an unfaithful age, unfaithful to God and unfaithful to men.